reason that it's become popular among young people is because they've been told that it is moral. Not that it works, not that it's great, but that it's moral. It's fair. And we all like things that are fair. If we're in a room and somebody has more money and somebody has less money, wouldn't it be more fair if we just pooled the money and then we split it up evenly among the participants? You know, just like the cookies in kindergarten. Except, of course, that's not the way the world works, and that's not actually moral. Because in a free country, wealth and the capacity to gain it is largely contingent on the decisions that you make. It doesn't just fall upon you. Most wealth in the United States is not inherited. Most wealth in the United States is created over the course of lifetimes by people who engage in economic activity and commerce. Capitalism is good because capitalism is freedom. Socialism is bad because socialism is tyranny. Not it's an aspect of tyranny. Socialism itself is tyranny. The statement of socialism is that your labor is owed to the society. The notion of socialism is that you do not own your own freedom. You do not own your own time. You do not own your own labor. You do not own your own work. You do not own the products of your own work. The basic notion of capitalism is you own all of those things, and now you have to engage in free exchange with someone else who does not owe you anything. If you want to thrive, if you want to succeed, you are going to have to make something somebody else wants. People think capitalism is selfishness. No, socialism is selfishness. Socialism, the idea that I'm supposed to fulfill all your dreams by paying you for something I don't want and have no need for. But capitalism is precisely the opposite. We all do stuff in our daily jobs that we don't like. Why? Because there's a group for it who want to consume it. How many people love their daily job every day? I'm lucky. I get to go to a job that I really enjoy every day. But a lot of people don't. And you know why they do it? They do it because they understand that in a free society, they're going to have to produce something that is not entertaining and interesting only to them. If my podcast had one listener, I would have to quit podcasting. And if whatever business you go into has no customers, your business will go out of business. As I'm fond of saying, capitalism is forced altruism. It forces you to do something that somebody else wants if you want to live. Capitalism also happens to be the most efficient system for the distribution of wealth in the history of mankind. It is the greatest it is the greatest engine for growth in the history of mankind. It is the single greatest force for the empowerment of individual human beings. Because it's very easy to demagogue capitalism. Any policy that has diffuse costs and concentrated benefits is a popular policy by nature. Right? Any policy that has diffuse costs and concentrated benefits is going to be popular. So subsidies, for example, to farmers in Iowa, those are popular because farmers in Iowa get a big chunk of cash, and you only lost 1 cent off your paycheck, so you didn't even see it, you didn't even notice it. Well, socialism is sort of the same idea. If you don't notice the money coming off your paycheck, then you're not going to notice that that one person is getting a bunch of money. So that person benefits, and that person feels good about the benefits they just received, but you don't even notice the money coming off. Except that in a socialist system, you have to take so much money off the top that everybody notices, of course. But what about Denmark? What about Switzerland? What about Sweden? Those are not socialist countries. Those are capitalist countries with a high tax system. Okay, that's not the same thing. A socialist country is government owns the means of production. It is about heavy regulation of all parts of the economy. Denmark is actually a better climate to do business than the United States is, according to the Heritage Foundation. Significantly better. There's a lot of foreign investment in Denmark. What makes Denmark a so-called socialist country is the fact that it has 60% tax rates. That's also the reason their economy stagnated so much that they just had to radically cut their tax rates. The same thing is true in Sweden. Sweden gained riches only after embracing capitalism in the mid-19th century. From 1975 to 1993, when they put in place all of these social programs with high levels of spending and high levels of taxation, the country dropped from 4th in the world wealth ranking to 14th. Swedish scholar Nima Sandanji called the country's embrace of redistributionism a colossal failure, which is why they had to liberalize their markets again. What about this idea that socialism cures the evils of income inequality? First of all, every country on earth has some level of income inequality. In fact, some of the places with the least income inequality are also some of the poorest places on earth. There are places where everybody is destitute. If you go over to certain countries in Africa or Asia, everyone is poor and there's no income inequality. Does that mean that these are great places to live? No, it means these are horrible places to live because nobody has any wealth. America has high levels of income inequality, but our poor are richer than everybody else's poor, which is the thing that matters. In the United States, even the poor people are rich by global standards. According to Pew Research, quote, almost 9 in 10 Americans had a standard of living that was above the global middle income standard. It is because of a capitalist global system that has become more and more prominent, free markets that have become more and more prominent, that literally half the world has been lifted out of abject poverty since 1980. The countries, by the way, that are poor in the world, those countries are not the ones that are being hurt by free trade. They're the ones that aren't even participating in free trade. 2/3 of the global poor on planet Earth live in just 5 countries: India, China, Nigeria, Bangladesh, and Congo. According to the Heritage Foundation Index of Economic Freedom, every single one of those countries ranks 120th or below in terms of free markets. This is not a coincidence. Freer markets means more wealth. Freer markets mean more growth.